Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're journeying back in time to one of the world's most iconic and mysterious monuments. When you think of Stonehenge, what comes to mind? A massive, ancient circle of stones standing silently on the Salisbury Plain in England. Right, for centuries, that's how most of us have seen it. But what if I told you that Stonehenge is so much more than just a stone circle? What if it's merely the heart of a much larger, more complex, and even more fascinating ancient landscape? Join me as we peel back the layers of history and reveal the incredible secrets hidden in plain sight around this legendary landmark. This is the story of the greater Stonehenge landscape, a story that will completely change the way you see this ancient wonder. So, let's start with the big picture. The Stonehenge we see today is actually the final phase of a project that spanned over 1,500 years. Construction didn't happen overnight. It began around 3000 BC, not with the giant stones, but with a large circular earthwork, a ditch, and a bank, known as a henge. Inside this circle, 56 pits were dug, now called the Aubrey Holes. For a long time, their purpose was a mystery, but recent studies suggest they might have held blue stones, acting as a kind of preliminary stone circle, or perhaps even marked burials. This early phase already tells us that this site was significant to people long before the famous trilithons were ever. It was a sacred place, a gathering point, a center of ritual and community, evolving over generations. Now, let's talk about the stars of the show, the stones themselves. They come in two main types. The smaller ones, known as blue stones, weigh up to 4 tons each. For decades, we've known they came from the Preseli Hills in Wales. But how did they get here? The journey was over 180 miles. Can you imagine the effort? Dragging these colossal stones over land and possibly floating them on rafts across rivers. It's a mind-boggling feat of engineering and determination for a society without modern technology. This wasn't just construction. It was a pilgrimage, an act of devotion that connected to distant, sacred landscapes. Then, around 2500 BC, the real giants arrived. These massive sandstone blocks, some weighing over 40 tons, were brought from the Marlborough Downs, about 20 miles away. They were shaped with incredible precision using stone tools, forming the iconic outer circle and the inner horseshoe of 5 towering trilithons, those famous structures, with 2 upright stones and 1 on top. Think about the level of social organization required. You need people to quarry the stones, transport them, shape them, and then lift them into place. This suggests a sophisticated society with strong leadership, shared beliefs, and an incredible understanding of engineering and physics. One of the most enduring mysteries of Stonehenge is its purpose. Why go to all this trouble? The most famous theory, of course, connects it to the sun. The entire monument is perfectly aligned with the movements of the sun. On the summer solstice, the sun rises directly over the heelstone, which stands just outside the main circle, casting a ray of light straight into the heart of the monument. And on the winter solstice, the setting sun aligns perfectly through the great trilithon. This isn't a coincidence. Stonehenge was a monumental calendar, a place to mark the changing seasons, which would have been vital for an agricultural society. It was their clock, their guide for planting and harvesting, and a center for seasonal celebrations. But the story doesn't end with astronomy. Stonehenge was also deeply connected to life and death. The sheer number of burial mounds, or barrows, that dot the surrounding landscape is staggering. These are the final resting places of the elite, the leaders, and the important figures of their time. It seems that being buried with a view of Stonehenge was a great honor. Archaeologists have found remains of both men and women, along with precious grave goods like gold ornaments, daggers, and amber beads, hinting at a complex social hierarchy. Stonehenge wasn't just for the living. It was a necropolis, a city of the dead, where the ancestors were honored and watched over the community. And here's where the landscape really comes alive. Recent archaeological surveys, using ground-penetrating radar and other known invasive technologies, have revealed a hidden world beneath the fields around Stonehenge. They've found traces of other henges, circles of massive wooden posts, and mysterious pits. One of the most incredible discoveries is a series of giant pits forming a 2-kilometer wide circle around another nearby henge, Darington Walls. This discovery suggests a vast ritual boundary or territory marker, enclosing the most sacred areas. It's like finding the blueprints for an entire ancient city that we never knew existed. Let's talk about Darington Walls. Located just a couple of miles from Stonehenge, this was a huge settlement, a place where the builders of Stonehenge likely lived. Excavations have uncovered the floors of houses, hearths, and vast amounts of animal bones, particularly pig bones. Interestingly, analysis shows that these pigs were feasted on during midwinter and midsummer, aligning perfectly with the solstices. So, you have this picture. People would travel from all over Britain, gather at Darington Walls for massive feasts and celebrations, and then proceed to Stonehenge for solemn rituals, honoring the sun and their ancestors. Darington Walls was the land of the living, a place of feasting and life, while Stonehenge was the domain of the ancestors, a place of stone and permanence. The two sites were connected by the River Avon and a ceremonial pathway known as the Avenue. This ancient processional route leads directly from the river to the entrance of Stonehenge. Imagine processions of people walking or floating along this path, moving from the world of the living at Darington Walls to the spiritual realm of Stonehenge. It was a journey, a transition, a piece of ritual theater played out on a landscape scale. This connection reinforces the idea that Stonehenge was never an isolated monument. It was the grand finale, the spiritual centerpiece of a much larger, interconnected sacred world. So, what does this all mean? It means Stonehenge wasn't just a stone circle. It was the cathedral of its time. But it was a cathedral set within a sprawling complex of chapels, graveyards, processional ways, and even a bustling festival town. It was a place of pilgrimage, a center for science and astronomy, a political power statement, and a deeply spiritual place that connected the heavens and the earth, the living and the dead. The people who built it weren't primitive. They were astronomers, engineers, artists, and planners, with a profound connection to their world, and a vision that spanned centuries. The more we discover, the more we realize how little we truly know. Each new find adds another layer of complexity and wonder. The greater Stonehenge landscape is a testament to human ingenuity, cooperation, and our eternal quest to understand our place in the cosmos. It challenges us to look beyond the obvious, and to see the connections that bind places, people, and beliefs together across time. So, the next time you see a picture of Stonehenge, don't just see a pile of rocks. See the heart of an ancient, vibrant civilization. See the feasts at Darington Walls, the processions along the avenue, and the thousands of souls who gathered here to celebrate life, honor their dead, and watch the sun rise on a new day. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey back in time. It's truly humbling to think about the legacy these ancient people left for us to uncover. What do you think was the main purpose of Stonehenge? Let me know your theories in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and want to explore more mysteries from our past, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. Until next time, stay curious.